I completed over 200 customer success manager interviews with big companies like Slack, Shopify, and LinkedIn. And today, I'm going to go over those questions to help you ace that interview. Welcome to the Customer Success Secrets channel. My name is Noah, and today, I'm going to go over the most common questions I've been asked during customer success interviews. As a token of my appreciation, if you subscribe to my channel, like this video, follow me on TikTok, I'm going to give away 2 free CSM consultation meetings with myself, where we can talk about your customer success and help you land that job, move up in your career, or help you write that resume. The winners will be announced on my TikTok next week, so make sure you like and subscribe. The most important aspect about answering questions in interviews are: first, be prepared. You should have examples ready to recite with your interview. Second, do not lie or try to be someone you're not, because even if you fool them once, you will be revealed later on. And thirdly, use the STAR method. That is, describe the situation, task, action, and result. Now that you're ready, let's get into those questions. Tell me about a time you learned something new, and how did you use that new learning? This could be a book, maybe an equation, or a new piece of technology, a negotiation tactic, something that you learned and then applied. Tell me about a time you went above and beyond for a customer. Make sure this wows them and shows how you put the customer's interests first and you went out of your way to delight them. In a customer success example, this could be how you worked late on a Friday or even a weekend to ensure your client deadline was achieved. They were able to be successful because you went above and beyond. If you don't come from CS, you could say, perhaps if you're a server, did you make an exception for someone with a nut allergy and change their dish on behalf? Or a bank teller who called a competitor to have a better rate for a struggling family. Or a teacher who stayed after school for a student struggling to grasp a certain subject. Or a car rental salesman who suggested you wait until next week for a special offer to get a lower price. And lastly, a hotel front desk receptionist who ensured you and your new baby had a crib, toys, and baby formula waiting for when you arrived. Make sure you can depict that you went above and beyond for your customers. Tell me about a time you made a mistake, and what did you learn from it? In customer success, maybe you told a customer you had a feature they wanted, but you got it wrong, and that feature was yet to be released or was canceled altogether, and then you needed to go back and apologize. The way you improved was ensuring you were up to date on the product roadmap and is this way to improve. If you're a general contractor who underpriced a project for home renovation and it ended up costing you lots of time and resources, forcing you to improve your process in quoting jobs and ensuring this does not happen again. Or maybe you were a waiter and you accidentally told a client incorrect information about food and it led to an allergic reaction. Moving forward, you now always ask your allergies for each table you deal with. Or perhaps you're an HR individual who hired someone with a history of corporate espionage, and now what you do to improve is always call an additional reference to learn about a candidate. Tell me about a time you had a disagreement with a coworker, and what was the outcome? They know you are human and you will disagree with people. Ensure you have a story about how you had a disagreement, what you did, how you solved it, and what were those outcomes. Perhaps you and a coworker wanted to complete a project in a different manner. Talk about that, and what was the outcome? How did you solve it? Make sure you have that example handy. Tell me about a time you disagreed with your boss and how you wanted something done compared to them. This is super important to show that you can disagree with your boss and actually have a resolution. In my experience, talking about how you wanted something done more efficiently, maybe to optimize margins or improve the customer experience, goes super well. In my case, I wanted to change the way we onboarded clients, and I had to make a business case with data as to why we should do it that way. If you're a teacher, perhaps you proposed to your principal of the school that giving out your personal number was too burdensome for teachers, and you change the policy. Or if you're a landscaper and you felt there was a better way to approach cutting the lawns and you needed better equipment to be more efficient, talk about that too. Anything that you challenge your boss on to lead to an improvement for the business goes a long way. Why are you leaving your current role? There are various reasons as to why you want to leave the current role, and that's completely cool. It could be financial issues at the company, toxic workplace culture, wanting a better mentor, needing a new challenge, or seeking a different field of work. You can be unemployed too, and that's cool. As long as it's true and acceptable, you're good to go. But make sure you have that ready. What are you looking for in your next role? Many people are looking for different things. For myself, when I first started my career at my first startup, I was looking to get into the tech space in any way I could. In my role after, I was looking for larger clients, a more advanced product. Just knowing what you're aiming for is often sufficient, but you should definitely know those reasoning in mind to where you're going. You might be looking for a more 9-to-5 job, a strong, diverse culture, or good dental and health benefits because you have a large family. Everything's cool, everything's on the table, but make sure you do actually acknowledge that reasoning. Tell me about a time when you dealt with a difficult customer and how did you handle it? Here's a great way to talk about keeping your cool and having an example. My own example would be when an important client was threatening to leave our company. They were such an important customer and their business was so much of our revenue that the company would be in financial trouble if it left. So how did I deal with it? Again, use that STAR method. Situation, The customer was extremely upset that our company was not able to implement the course of 3 months their implementation. They threatened to leave and they would tell other high-value customers. This was the cause of a bad handover. Task. Well, my task was then get them moving forward for onboarding, implementation, apologize to the customer about their experience, and lay out a plan to adjust their onboarding. Action. Met with internal stakeholders, including a few team leads regarding this customer situation. I also set up weekly calls with the customer to ensure we were both accountable on what we needed to be accomplished. Result. The client was able to get back, launched after 2 months of back and forth calls, and they were successful in their project completion. What do you believe are the characteristics of being a good CSM? The answer here is coachable, because you need to be able to take feedback and implement it. Emotional intelligence, being able to read the room and understand what your customers need. Resilience, because you'll have bad calls, good calls, and it truly can be an emotional roller coaster. Being able to handle a happy client and then an angry one, all within a time span of 2 hours, is critical. Problem solving and solutioning. Customers will push your software to its limit. It's up to you to help them unlock the software, but also think of alternatives to help them achieve their goals. Customer focused. Happiness is not necessarily the goal, but the results are. What is something that you need to work on? Here, they're looking for self-awareness. If you need to work on being more detail-oriented, or becoming more tech-savvy, or more confident in speaking in front of large crowds, that's great. Make sure you talk about that. For myself, I want to learn how to negotiate better, like a seasoned salesperson. So knowing what your gaps are also shows maturity, self-awareness, and that you're wanting to grow as a person. There might be a follow-up question about how you intend to close that gap. Make sure you have that prepared too. Why do you want to work at company XYZ? This is where you'll talk about why you want to work at this place. Did you see they had incredible Glassdoor reviews? Or perhaps you are interviewing for a solar panel company and sustainability is very important to you. Find that connection and cohesion and discuss it. Again, be real. If you're a nerd about tech, talk about it. If it's your first job coming from a construction site and you want to make a change in your life, say it. It's all good, but make sure you have that connection as to why you're making this change and why you want to work at this place. Tell me about a time you failed and what did you learn from it? This is where they want you to think about a failure and a lesson you learned from it. We've all failed many, many times. Own it, learn from it, talk about it. Most importantly, have a scenario. Again, using the STAR method, situation, task, action, result to really paint a picture will help you. What would your colleagues say about you? And what are your weaknesses and strengths? Cross-functional teamwork is described here. Be sure to talk about attributes as a whole. Something that stumped me during an interview was I answered with reliable, honest, and ethical, and they caught me by surprise and they asked me, okay, we'll give us an example of honest, reliable, ethical. So make sure you actually have those examples ready because they may ask you to elaborate on an example. What would your manager say about you? And what are your strengths and weaknesses? Again, this is where they want you to see your self-awareness. What types of feedback has your manager or boss given to you in the past? What are you strong at? What are you weak at? Make sure you know and make sure you have those answers ready. Tell me about a time you had to refuse to do work for a customer or adhere to what they wanted. This question is super important. I really want to drill down here. Customers wanting to do things outside of scope of what their product offers need to be able to answer this question well, or a service offering. In the customer success world, we're often asked to do things out of scope, and you have to have the confidence to say no, but also provide them with a solution. An example could be a customer wanted a rules bent for a housing addition that was against the building city codes, or a website that they want to have something built super custom, but you don't offer it. Or perhaps you come from the fashion world and a person wanted a dress or a suit in a certain color and size, but the manufacturer simply did not offer it. You have to have a solution. Having these actual answers to these questions will show you're able to do what's right by the business, but also how you're going to deal with that customer solution. Tell me about a time you had to negotiate with a person for financial gain. This is where they want you to talk about upsells, negotiation experience. It could be convincing someone to go to a higher tier service, for example. Maybe you sold cars. You could describe how you did an upsell with the cars with all the best features. Or if you're a server, how you approach the wine menu or the dish of the day for the customers. They want to understand how you depict a higher class of service and also your ability to negotiate with people. It could be a plumber who gets his customers to use more expensive tiles because they're scratch resistant. So we always suggest the customers to go that way. Being able to influence people is critical to becoming a customer success manager, as it is to being a guide with negotiation. Tell me about a time you lost a customer or a deal. What would you have done differently? This is a way to talk about where you went wrong, or as my friend calls it, playing your tapes. Go back and give that interview the STAR method. What was the situation, task, action, and result? So again, let's use that STAR method here. Situation: a client was unhappy with the proposal we gave them and they want to back out of their contract. Task: was to keep them from not backing out of the contract and to depict to them the value of what we gave was right and the best way forward for their business. Action. Speak to the client on a call, walk them through the proposal and why it would help their business grow. Result. The client ended up not wanting to go through with the proposal and the contract, so we actually let them back out. So what was my learnings? My learning from this was, on the initial call, I should have done a better job at understanding their expectations. What did the customer want? What were we able to provide to them? And be sure it was actually a true match. Tell me about a time during a stressful situation for a customer deadline. These examples are easier to think of as you're most likely under the gun. An example story would be, there was a customer that needed a pricing change on their website, and this was during their Christmas rush. This was a huge priority for them first thing on Monday, and you needed to get the website team involved to ensure this gets done ASAP. The interview wants to know, can you think clearly during times of stress, and what actions will you take? Not to panic and be in a little ball and run. These are all the questions that I've actually faced across the board from all of the different types of customer success interviews. I hope today has given you some true insight into what you are getting into the customer success world. As I've shown today, having those example stories, scenarios, and responses are extremely critical to your success during the interview process. Being prepared for an interview is more difficult than the interview itself, especially if you're ready. Remember, if you subscribe to my channel, like this video, follow me on TikTok, I'm going to give away 2 free CSM consultation calls. And that's all I have for you today. Hope you found this helpful. Thanks for your time and your attention.